a waste station is tricky to manage. You need volunteers or waste educators, ideally. And at this point in time, just having a bin in the corner that says recycling, it's not going to engage with the guests, and you'll find people just throw all kinds of things into it.
Waste educators stationed at the bins are a way to educate the general public about what bin to use. While the recycling bins have labels and pictures about what goes where, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. So having those educators there means that they can talk to the public, remind them where things go or educate them on where things go, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to phase those educators out because people are aware of where these things are supposed to go.
Yeah, right. And in your experience, how interested is the public in putting things into the correct bin?
I think the public are getting better at recycling and being interested in what happens to their waste. There are still quite a few people out there that go, it's a bin, I don't care, I'm going to put it in wherever. And I think that's another reason why the zero waste educators are important, because it helps with prevent cross-contamination between the bins as well. But I think the public are getting better slowly.
How good are the public at putting stuff into the correct bins?
I think most people are good at separating the waste, but it's certainly not everyone. We always have inappropriately discarded waste, so there'll always be recycling, unfortunately, recycling that goes into the landfill bin.
And can you recover it from the landfill bin? Only if it's not contaminated?
Yeah, the problem is that if once something goes into the landfill bin, it usually will be contaminated in that bin. The same thing, unfortunately, happens with the compost bins. Once people put things in the compost bins, they are not biodegradable, we need to take them out. And even if it is recyclable, then at that point, it's contaminated. So it's really important to make sure that people do separate their waste as much as possible. And most people do, but unfortunately the few that don't do have a large impact on us.
So what are some of the risks of zero waste?
Well, I think the biggest risk is that it's very difficult to get zero waste. So you've kind of got to see it as a goal rather than an absolute. The other risks are, of course, that you'll go to all the effort of recycling and then for some reason it will be rejected when it gets to the recycling yard. And I've had that happen to us, and it's heartbreaking to tell your staff that they've just, sorted through, and because of one decision about one item, then it gets rejected. And so, but even if that happens, you take on that knowledge and you go, well, next time we're going to start earlier, and we're going to make sure that we even go to the recyclers firsthand and take that item in and say, hey, are these acceptable? Do they need to be washed first? How do you need them? Because that can be the biggest problem, is it's really hard to get clean recycling at events.
So how have you been finding that people have been managing with the zero waste bins?
Well, it's really different. Yesterday and today's quite different. Yesterday there was a lot of sorting for people. They didn't know what could be composted. They were confused by the various different sorts of plastics. Today I'm noticing there's quite a big difference. Obviously when people have brought their rubbish in yesterday and it's been explained to them what can be broken down and compost, what's recyclable, what's landfill, they've actually taken that on board and they're actually doing a lot of the sorting themselves today, and they've learned a lot. One of the things that I'm finding today is when people are finding they've got the wrong sort of plastic or plastic bags, glad wrap, tin foil, they have to put it in the landfill one, they go, oh damn it, they feel like they've failed for some reason and they're really getting on board with it. So it's just wonderful.
That's
absolutely
fantastic.
Great.